We are going to have some fun today. We are going to start with two songs. Oh, I forgot to give y'all my smooth jazz intro.
Let's hear it.
Hey, everybody. My name is Thomas Miller, and I'm going to be here with Ellis Hopson. It doesn't get any better than the two of us. I'm just messing. But we're going to have fun today. We're going to start with two songs of worship. The first one is going to be called Joy by Vashawn Mitchell. That is Vashawn Mitchell. Mitchell. And that is Joy. Real simple song to sing. And then our last one is going to be Won't Stop Now by Elevation. I'm pretty sure y'all know how to spell elevation. So let's go ahead. First one, Joy. There's beauty in my brokenness. I've got true love instead of pain. This freedom, though you've captured me, I've got joy instead of mourning. There's beauty in my brokenness. I've got true love instead of pain. This freedom, though you've captured me, I've got joy instead of mourning. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. Gonna sing that again. There's beauty in my brokenness. I've got true love instead of pain. There's freedom, though you've captured me, I've got joy instead of mourning. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. Oh, I've never been so free, caught in your love for me. Never been more secure, knowing your heart, Lord. Never been so free, caught in your love for me. I've never been more secure, knowing your heart, Lord. Down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. I said you give me joy, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. You give me joy, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul, down deep in my soul. 'Cause you give me joy. I give you glory for all you've brought me through. And now I'm ready for whatever you wanna do. I'm moving forward to follow after you. And now I'm ready for whatever you wanna do. Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before. Your presence is an open door. So come now, Lord, like never before. In every season, your grace has been enough, and I'm believing the best is yet to come. The cross before me, my hope on things above, and in you, Jesus, the best is yet to come. Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before. Your presence is an open door. So come now, Lord, like never before. Do this a couple times here. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. Made me a promise and it won't stop now. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now. I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. My God made me a promise and it won't stop now. Whoa, 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 whoa. Your presence is an open door. We want you, Lord, like never before. Your presence is an open door. So come now, Lord, like never before.
Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here today. I want to start by asking you a question today. What's the hardest you've ever worked for something? What's the hardest you've ever worked for something? It could be anything. It could be that summer where you spent every day mowing somebody's lawn to get enough money to buy that bike you wanted, or today's equivalent, I guess, would be like a PlayStation 5. I don't know. It could be that time you were really dedicated to doing well in school and you did whatever it took to finish near the top of your class. Or it could be that you busted your butt to get your degree or a certificate, whether it's a bachelor's or master's or some kind of trade school. Whatever it is, put that in the chat. Let us know what the hardest you've ever worked for something is. For me, it was probably the work it took to get my degree, but there are a few factors that contributed to that, okay? Number one, I was an extremely average student. Seriously, like if you take every grade I ever got, like over the course of my life, every form of schooling, the average would be like a 78, which it was a C when I was in school, otherwise known as super average. So that's factor number one. Factor number two, my parents told me before I ever went to college that they were only paying for 4 years of school. Anything beyond that was on my dime, and I didn't think the one dime I had would cover anymore, so I wanted nothing to do with that. Factor number three, I discovered what I thought was my dream job at the time while I was in college. I wanted to be a sports journalist. I wanted the bird's eye view. I wanted to talk to the players and the coaches, and I wanted to use the skills I had developed as a writer to tell the stories of what happened. I was driven by the idea that if I worked hard enough and put in enough effort, I would get exactly where I wanted to be. It didn't quite happen that way. I'll come back to that later. But I started thinking about that time in my life when I was digging into our Bible reading for today. Because based on what Paul is talking about in chapter 4 of his letters to the Roman church, there were people who thought along the lines of what I did. That if they worked hard enough, they would get where they wanted to be. Not just in life, but in God's eyes too. But Paul shows them and us that this isn't how we should approach this. And in verse 5, Paul says that people are counted as righteous not because of their work, but because of their faith in God. So people in the Roman culture believed that where they were, the possessions they had, and even their personal value was based on how hard they worked. But Paul totally contradicted this idea by telling them that their worth wasn't found in their work, but in their faith in God. And he's telling us across the span of time, he's telling us the same thing today. You remember that question I asked you? That's exactly what Paul is talking about. Because it's not just the Roman culture that championed hard work, it's ours too. Scroll on social media for 2 minutes and count how many posts tell you to stay on your grind if you don't know what I'm talking about. They're not hard to find. And that's not to discount your hard work, because it is important. Paul talks a lot about how hard he worked throughout his letters in the New Testament that we'll read. So he's not saying that we shouldn't work hard. But he is saying that our ultimate value isn't determined by that work. The degree that I worked for, my dream job at the time, they didn't work out like I hoped. But luckily for me, where I ended up in life wasn't decided by how hard I worked. Even after that bubble kind of burst, I knew that if I trusted God and followed where he was leading me, I would get where I was supposed to go. And I did. He brought me here, and I'm really glad that he did. So today, take a few minutes and consider where you're working the hardest. Are you doing it to achieve a goal, to reach a status, to be elevated in the eyes of people or in God's eyes? If you are, remember Paul's words in chapter 4 of Romans. You're counted as righteous, not because of your work, but because of your faith in God. Would you pray with me? God, we're grateful for a few minutes to start this day, to be able to worship you and reflect on you. God, we thank you for the truth that you show us in the pages of the Bible, and the reminder that the work that we do and how hard we work at it, it's important, but it's not everything. It doesn't determine our ultimate value. That's decided by you and our faith in you. God, help us to remember that today, whatever work we might be doing today. Help us to focus on you, to invest in our relationship with you, and to remember that our ultimate value, our ultimate worth comes from that relationship. God, we thank you, we love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Thanks for being here today. We hope you come back tomorrow for more daily worship, 8 o'clock. We'll see you then.